You're good to go.
Thank you so much. Hello, good afternoon. It is Wednesday, October 11th, 2023 at 3:36 p.m. And this is the Public Infrastructure and Utilities Committee meeting. We are called to order. So roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Vollmer. Alderwoman Keys.
Aye. Oh, hello.
Alderman Browning.
Present.
Alderman Aldred.
Present.
Chair Schweitzer.
Present.
Alderman Vollmer.
Present.
We have 5 present. We have a quorum.
Perfect attendance. Well done. Next, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from October 4th, 2023.
So moved. Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Vollmer.
Aye.
Alderwoman Keys.
Aye.
Alderman Browning.
Aye.
Alderman Aldred.
Aye.
Chair Schweitzer.
Aye.
We have 5 aye votes.
With your vote, you've sustained the motion from the Alderman from the 5th and approved the minutes of the October 4th, 2023 committee meeting. We'll move on to board bills for review. We're going to go slightly out of order from the online agenda and start with board bill number 116. Putting that before us, Alderman Oldenburg, you are recognized.
I'm sorry, Alderwoman Schweitzer, did you check the drive? They said Alderman.
It's not in there yet.
Okay, so it's not.
Still trying to upload.
Okay,
There's something with the city site.
all right.
We'll just go with 116 and I know you all are working to get it up there, so let you all finish that. So Alderman Oldenburg, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Would like to introduce to you all for favorable consideration Board Bill 116. This is a pretty straightforward bill that authorizes the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department to enter into a grant agreement with the Missouri Department of Transportation to accept $25,000 in grant funds to be used to purchase speed radar trailers. So you're probably familiar with these. These are the flashy, you're going above the speed limit signs and technology, but it's in a trailer form. So it is mobile, can be moved around and has the flexibility to be put in areas where high speeding exists. The ultimate source of these funds are from the Show Me Zero program that I believe most of you are familiar with. This is Let's Have Zero pedestrian and automotive driver fatalities and injuries. So to the extent we can put these sources to use, the police department's great at writing grants, and they've done so here again. So we will look forward to pretty straightforward vote on Board Bill 116.
Thank you so much, Alderman. Do you have anyone here to speak on the bill?
I do not.
Okay, wonderful. We'll move through questions from the committee members, starting with our most senior Alderman, Alderman Vollmer.
All right, no real quick. Are these solar powered or do they require to be hooked into a nearby source?
Great question. Solar powered is my understanding.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Alderwoman Keys?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do you know how many of these trailers they'll be able to purchase?
Yeah, they'll be able to replace 3 of them. So right now, 3 are out of commission. Well, 2 are, and 1 is, about to get there. So this requires an opportunity to refresh the technology. The technology on these improved more and more, so power lasts longer and longer with the solar panel that's associated with it. So we'll be able to purchase, the police department will be able to purchase 3 more of these speed trailers.
So is this grant a renewable grant where they can apply again next year, maybe buy 3 every year? Or how frequently does this grant come up for renewal?
So that's a darn good question, Alderwoman, and let me get you the answer to that. before we finally pass this. I don't know how revolving the Show Me Zero program dollars are, but I can find out.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Alderwoman?
Oh, no, thank you.
Thank you so much. Alderman Aldridge.
I think Browning before me, but no questions.
Okay, thank you. Vice Chair Browning.
Thank you. So you might not know the answer to this, but I am curious what the trailers, they display a speed and tell you if you're going too fast. Is there any follow-up action is there like record keeping, or do they, anticipate or any further action if it finds that people are routinely speeding on that road? Does the police get notified, or does it simply a display device?
I think it's just a display device. It's a good question. I don't think it has the LPR recognition to capture a license plate and then mail a citation or a ticket. It does not. It's simply cautionary and display.
Okay, good to know. No more questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing this forward, Alderman. I look forward to these being purchased, and yeah, I'd love to know more about Show Me Zero, and I've heard a little bit about it. I think it's a relatively new thing from the state to have money for some of these safety improvements with the raising of the gas tax. Is that correct?
You got it. I think that's the ultimate source, is the gas tax.
Well,
raise.
thank you to everyone who's paying slightly more in their gas tax and providing some of these safety considerations. With that, I don't know that you have any comments from the public on this, or any written comment, or anyone signed up on this one, Madam Clerk?
No, I don't have any written testimonies, and I don't see anyone that signed up.
Okay, thank you. With that, Alderman Oldenburg, you are recognized to close.
I would just, again, look for everyone's favorable consideration here, and nothing further.
Thanks. Yeah, for anyone watching at home, I just think that it's important to note this is money coming into the city that is being spent on what we can spend it on. So that's what this bill is. With that, great. I would entertain a motion for a due pass recommendation of Board Bill 116.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Any objection to previous roll? Hearing none, you've sustained the motion from the Alderman from the 5th and passed Board Bill 116 out of committee with a due pass recommendation. Thank you, Alderman Oldenburg.
Alderwoman Schweitzer, I'm sorry, motion was made by 5, it was seconded by 14.
Yes, and then previous roll by 9.
Thank you all.
No
Thank you.
objection. Okay.
No objections. People want the money for speed radars. Wonderful. Okay, thank you. Is
115 is in the drive.
wonderful. We will move back to 115. Alderwoman Spencer, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Transportation or the Public Infrastructure and Utilities Committee. Board Bill 115 is a very partial alley vacation bill. This was given to me and recommended to me by the Street Department. This is really initiated by a realtor. A family is purchasing this home. There is some implementations that are already built: a garage, a concrete block wall in the house, and a chain link fence. They're all technically lying in the McGurk Street alleyway. So this is just to kind of clear up. They're asking for a vacation of that tiny little sliver, so they don't have an encroachment on what is a public street before the sale of this house. So, it's just these concrete steps and a concrete wall that are kind of like lying in the right of way. And so I don't really, like I said, it was really recommended to me, given to me by the Street Department as a way of clearing that up.
Okay, thank you. I'll entertain questions from the committee. Alderman Vollmer.
No questions.
Alderman Keys.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No questions.
Vice Chair Browning.
No questions. Thank you.
Alderman Aldridge.
No questions.
Thank you. So you said it's stairs and a wall that were built on the city right of way? Do you know how long ago they were built, or any of this history or story behind it?
I don't have all the history of that, Madam Chair. The street department and on the alley vacation side of things is very difficult to communicate with, get responses from. You may have experienced that. So we kind of have dealt with the realtor on this, who's just looking to clear it up for clients. That's like I said, it was recommended by the street department. I think it's a very tiny little sliver, and I don't see this having a major impact, but that's a good question, and I'd be happy to get an answer, try to get an answer for you before it goes before the full board, if that's amenable.
Yeah, I
to you.
appreciate it. I just find this sort of thing interesting. I've had a few instances in my ward with untangling, city right of way that was supposed to be an alley, but was never an alley, but is right behind someone's property, and figuring out, where they can put their fence. I mean, it's all really interesting. I think I'm just a nerd for St. Louis history, to be honest with you. So I'm always interested to know the details of why something is the way it is, but I'm sure go ahead.
Yeah, I would agree. I would just say that none of the neighbors have that I'm aware of have any problem with an existing structure there. So rather than, having an encroachment or forcing them to take it out, this is kind of gives them that little vacation.
Okay. And I imagine there's nothing underneath it or any pipes that they'll be dealing with that, sometimes when we do alley vacations, there's a whole lot of infrastructure that is underneath where we're vacating, but this doesn't sound like it. It sounds like a really small piece.
Yeah, I let the street department vet that. I mean, they vetted it before it got to me, so I'm assuming they did their due diligence in that.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you so much. No public testimony on this one?
No.
Okay. With that, I will entertain I'll let you close, Alderman Spencer.
And with that, I ask for the committee's favorable consideration of Board Bill 115.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion for a due pass recommendation for Board Bill 115.
Second, previous row.
Moved by the Alderman from the 11th, seconded by the Alderman from the 5th, previous roll by the Alderman from the 14th. Any objection to previous roll? Hearing no objection, motion carries. Thank you, Alderwoman Spencer. Okay, moving on to the next, we have two more bills on the agenda. Both are our favorite Alderman, Joe Vollmer. He can speak to us today. Do you want to start with 124, Alderman?
124, is that the stop sign at Lindenwood and Brandon, I believe? Off the top of my
Yes,
head?
it is.
Okay, yes, this is very controversial. We're gonna put a stop sign up. This is Brandon Avenue. Familiar with Brandon? It's a narrow two-way street that runs north and south. Lindenwood is a one-way street, but it's kind of a blind corner, and Lindenwood is a block off of Chippewa. So people come speeding through, and the incidents there and the neighbors, it's been wanting something that we've been meaning to do, and we're going to do it now because it's a very dangerous intersection for people to try and get across, even driving off of Lindenwood and trying to get across to the other side or to make a left or right hand turn onto Brandon. With that, I'll entertain any questions.
Yeah, great, wonderful, thank you. Alderman Keys.
No questions, thank you.
Vice Chair Browning.
No questions. Thank you.
Alderman Aldridge.
No questions.
Thank you. Is this something where you'd had a lot of people reaching out to you about putting a stop sign in, or a lot of accidents, or kind of what?
Yeah, it's there have been accidents. Unfortunately, the street department has a quota for accidents for them. You can actually get a stop sign put up without any legislation if it is that dangerous. Yes. And we're at 4. So before we get to 5, I thought I'd take care of it.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I have a stop sign very similar in my ward that I have been, it's in that same boat where it has 4 accidents. Yeah, it's 5 accidents in a 12-month period, 50% of a certain amount of the block around it for signatures. I feel like there's one other thing that the streets department will do. And then otherwise.
I actually had one a few years back where it was so bad that they didn't even require signatures. That was actually on Filer Avenue. I think there was actually in a 6-month period, there was 5 accidents.
Right.
The street department actually called me and said, we're putting it up. So
That's great. That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that they did that. Wonderful. All right, you are recognized to close. I don't think we have any commenters on this one. Clerk Higgs.
No, I have no testimony from any outside sources.
Okay, you're recognized to close, Alderman.
With that, I ask your favorable consideration as to this wonderful piece of legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll entertain a do pass recommendation for Board Bill 124.
Second, previous row.
Moved by the Alderwoman from the 11th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, and a call from previous roll. Any objection to previous roll? Hearing none, we have passed Board Bill 124 out of committee with a do pass recommendation. Alderman Valmer, you are recognized on Board Bill 125.
All right, we have for us a speed hump bill. There are, I believe, 30 locations here. We have 5 stretches of Bancroft, 2 stretches of Bischoff, 1 stretch of Botanical, 3 stretches of Columbia, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stretches of Daggett, a Garden Hill Lane, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 stretches of Hereford, I think, or 6, 5. Jasper Park, Park Ridge Lane, Portis, Wilson, and 59th Street. Well, I'm trying to basically spread throughout the ward. I probably have another 30 that I'll be proposing in another month or two. As you might know, everyone in the world wants a speed hump these days. My list keeps going and going. With that, I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you. Alderman Keys.
No questions.
Let's see. Vice Chair Browning.
No questions. I hope this speed hump brings its desired result.
Alderman Aldridge.
No questions, Madam Chair.
Thanks. And if you don't mind, Alderman Valmer, just what's your methodology for deciding where to put them? I think everybody has different ideas, and I'd love to hear what you do.
What do? I basically, when I get one request on a block, I ask that person to give me a few more requests from that block. I've actually had, and someday in private, I'll play your recording somebody sent. In my new ward, the previous alderwoman had scheduled speed humps, and while they're putting one in front of the house last June, I have a ranting, raving person who did not want a speed hump in their front of their house, which I cannot play. The recording is so expletive. So I make sure that they check with their neighbors, and I have no problem putting them anywhere as long as most of the block wants it. Even 50 to 60% of the block, and I'm happy.
Right. Yeah, I do it very similarly with kind of like a petition for over 50% of the block signs on, then we'll move forward. So how long did it take to get all these 30 together? Or some of them from previous?
Some of these, actually, most of these are from the campaign trail.
So
when they have you,
got some information to the door.
When you're knocking on their front door, they tend to ask you for everything.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Those seem like very productive knocks then.
Yes. Well,
wonderful.
There's a joke in there, but I should leave it alone with the word knock and hump. So
yeah, just let it go. Not every time, you know what I mean? Sometimes. So great, wonderful. Well, you are recognized to close, Alderman.
With that, I ask for your favorable consideration as to this legislation. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, with that, I will entertain a do pass recommendation for Board Bill number 125.
So move.
Second.
Previous row.
Okay, we have a motion from the Alderman from the 14th, a second from the Alderwoman from the 11th, and a call from previous roll. Any objection to previous roll? With that, we have a sustain the motion, the Alderman from the 14th, and pass Board Bill number 125 out of committee with a do pass recommendation.
Thank you so much for your efficient legislation.
Thank you. We try. We take things seriously here at the Public Infrastructure and Utilities Committee. Moving on our agenda, let's see. Resolutions to review.
None.
Committee discussions.
We have none.
Acknowledgement of any written testimony.
We had none.
And announcements. I will say we had previously had on our agenda a committee discussion regarding the paving list that we were sent as aldermen from the streets commissioner. The streets department asked for a little more time before coming to our meeting to discuss that more further and more in depth about what list they have from folks and aldermen. So basically what they'd like to see from us is that everyone gets back to Commissioner Flake about what areas they want to see paved in their wards, and any follow-up that's needed. So I know I've asked for a ride along of my ward to show some of the spots that I've heard complaints about and get input from streets about some of the areas that they want to work on. So, meanwhile, there's also discussions that are happening regarding how do we plan this out for a longer stretch of time? What resources do streets need? What can the aldermen do to be helpful there? And so that conversation is ongoing as well. And I hope to hear from you all about that. I think we really need more efficient planning process than we have currently for street paving. Any other announcements or comments on what I just said? Any other announcements? Okay, excuse members, we had perfect attendance today. Wonderful job. And adjournment, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Previous row.
All right, there's been a motion from, I think that was a tie.
I think it was 11,
11th and then seconded by the 5th, is that correct?
seconded by 14, and previous row by 14, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll take it off, sure.
Yeah. You're in charge here, Clerk Hague.
I'm
so
sorry.
I appreciate that. You were in charge of the minutes. I appreciate that. All right. Well, thank you. We're adjourned. Thanks everyone for your time for an efficient meeting. Appreciate it.